The Grand Galactic Council Chamber was a marvel of engineering and tradition, a massive crystalline dome floating in the vacuum of space above the glittering star system of Tenebra. Inside, representatives from every major species in the galaxy gathered in concentric tiers, their vibrant forms and distinct languages a testament to the diversity of the cosmos. In the center of the chamber, the podium glowed softly, its light bathing Ambassador Elaine Draven in a pale blue hue. Draven stood with her shoulders back, her sharp gray eyes scanning the assembly. She wore the ceremonial black and silver uniform of the Solar Federation, a stark contrast to the flowing robes and ornate adornments of the alien delegates. Her voice, amplified by the room's acoustics, was steady and firm. Members of the council, she began, her words carrying across the vast chamber. Humanity acknowledges its flaws, as all species must. But to brand us as pariahs, to sever our ties to this council and exile us from the galactic community, is not just punitive, it is unjust. A murmur spread through the assembly, punctuated by the clicking mandibles of the insectoid Zarans and the guttural growls of the Hulthak delegation. Counselor Rin Tereth, a tall, reptilian figure with scales that shimmered in shades of emerald, rose to respond. His deep, resonant voice silenced the room. Ambassador Draven Tereth said, his tone laced with condescension, "The charges against humanity are not baseless. You have overstepped the boundaries of responsible conduct time and time again. Your reckless exploitation of natural resources has destabilized ecosystems on colony worlds. Your genetic experiments border on atrocities. And let us not forget the incident on Galtria 6. The mention of Galtria 6 caused a ripple of discontent. Draven's jaw tightened. She had been instructed not to mention the event unless absolutely necessary. But now it was unavoidable. The incident on Galtria 6, she countered, was an act of self-defense. A rogue pirate fleet threatened the lives of innocent settlers. We acted decisively, as any responsible species would. You deployed orbital bombardments. Terrace shot back, his yellow eyes narrowing. The collateral damage was catastrophic. Draven's voice rose, cutting through the growing din, because the council forces refused to intervene. We had no choice but to protect our people. Tereth turned to the assembly, spreading his clawed hands in a gesture of exasperation. And this, esteemed colleagues, is the crux of the matter. Humanity refuses to abide by the rules set forth by this council. They act as though they are above the law. The chamber erupted in noise, voices overlapping in a cacophony of languages. Draven's heart pounded, but she refused to show weakness. She took a deep breath and scanned the faces around her. Some, like the Thalassari delegation, seemed sympathetic. Others, such as the rigidly militaristic Vectorians, looked indifferent, but the majority appeared hostile. Counselor Tereth raised his hand, and the chamber fell silent. The time for debate is over. The evidence has been presented. It is clear that humanity's actions are incompatible with the values of this council. Draven clenched her fists at her sides. She knew this moment was coming, but it didn't make the words any easier to hear. We will now vote on the expulsion of Earth and its colonies from the Grand Galactic Council, Tereth declared. Ambassador Draven, you may remain to hear the verdict. The voting process was swift, each delegation casting their decision through a bioelectronic interface. The results appeared on a translucent screen above the chamber, the numbers stark and final. 287 in favor of expulsion, 13 against. Draven's stomach sank, but she refused to let the sting of defeat show. She straightened her posture and looked directly at Tereth. The Solar Federation will remember this day, she said, her voice cold. Not as the day we were cast out, but as the day we were freed. With that, she turned and walked out of the chamber, her boots echoing against the crystalline floor. The council had made its decision, but Draven knew humanity's story was far from over. The aftermath, the news of Earth's expulsion, spread rapidly across the galaxy, transmitted via hyperlight communication relays to every corner of the council's domain. For the citizens of Earth and its colonies, the announcement was a shock, followed by anger and disbelief. Protests erupted in cities, from the domed metropolises of Mars to the sprawling starports of Alpha Centauri. Betrayal. Read the headlines. The Council turns its back on humanity. President Asha Khatri addressed the Solar Federation in a televised broadcast from the Earth capital in New Delhi. Behind her, the Federation flag, a blue and white globe encircled by a golden ring of stars, fluttered gently in the artificial breeze. "My fellow humans," Khatri began, her voice calm but resolute. "Today, the galaxy has declared that we are unworthy of standing among them. They accuse us of greed, of recklessness, of defiance. But let me remind you, these are the traits that have defined our survival and success since the dawn of our species." She paused, her dark eyes locking with the camera. "They fear us not because we are weak, but because we are strong. They banish us not because we are unworthy, but because they know we cannot be controlled." The speech ignited a wave of unity across human territories. For the first time in decades, Earth and its colonies felt a shared purpose. Scientists, politicians, and soldiers alike began to work toward a single goal: ensuring humanity's survival and independence in a galaxy that had turned its back on them. A plan of defiance. At the Solar Federation's headquarters on Luna, President Khatri convened an emergency meeting of her top advisors. The situation was dire. The Council's sanctions would cut off access to vital trade routes, leaving many colonies vulnerable. Moreover, the threat of military action loomed large. "We have two options," General Marcus Varga said, his cybernetic arm resting heavily on the table. "We can beg for forgiveness and hope the Council lets us back in, or we can fight." Khatri shook her head. "We won't beg, but fighting the Council head-on is suicide. Their fleets outnumber ours 10-1. "Then what do you propose?" asked Dr. Serena Ng, a physicist whose groundbreaking work on quantum computing had already revolutionized several fields. Khatri leaned forward, her gaze intense. "We do what humanity has always done best: adapt, innovate. We build something the Council can't ignore." Ng frowned. "You're talking about a full-scale push for technological and territorial expansion that's going to require resources we don't currently have." "Then we'll find them," Khatri said. "The Council's reach is vast, but it isn't infinite. There are species out there who resent their rule. We can forge alliances, offer them what the Council won't: freedom, equality, a place to thrive." Varga nodded slowly. "And what about defense?" "The Council won't sit idly by while we expand." "That's where you come in, General," Khatri replied. "Our fleets are outdated, but our scientists are some of the best in the galaxy. If we can't outnumber them, we'll outthink them." The first steps. Within weeks, humanity began mobilizing. Scientists turned their focus to projects that had been shelved or suppressed under the Council's regulations. Engineers worked tirelessly to retrofit old ships with advanced weaponry and shielding. Diplomats were dispatched to fringe systems, seeking allies among the discontented and disenfranchised. One of the first breakthroughs came from Dr. Ng's team. Using principles of quantum entanglement, they developed a prototype for a new type of faster-than-light drive, one that could bypass the Council-monitored hyperlanes. Dubbed the Erebus Drive, it was a game-changer, allowing Dominion ships to explore and expand without interference. Meanwhile, General Varga began organizing a network of fortified colonies along the Federation's borders. These frontier worlds would serve as both defensive strongholds and staging grounds for future expansion. Despite the monumental challenges, there was a sense of determination and even hope among humanity. They had been cast out of the Council, but they were far from defeated. For the first time in centuries, they had a cause worth uniting for. Humanity would not simply survive. They would thrive. And one day, the galaxy would reckon with the empire Earth was about to build. Humanity's expulsion from the Grand Galactic Council marked the beginning of an unprecedented transformation. No longer bound by the Council's restrictive laws, Earth and its colonies threw themselves into a frenetic era of innovation, expansion, and defiance. What emerged from the chaos was not merely a rebellious faction, but a new galactic superpower. the Terran Dominion. Unshackled innovation. Freed from the Council's strict regulations on scientific research, humanity began to explore fields of study previously deemed unethical or dangerous. The best minds from Earth and its colonies gathered at newly established research hubs, such as the Ascension Institute on Luna and the Prometheus Foundry orbiting Proxima Centauri. Artificial intelligence. The first major breakthrough came in the form of sentient autonomous constructs, SACs, AI systems capable of independent thought and creativity. Unlike the rudimentary AI systems approved by the Council, these constructs could strategize, adapt, and even innovate. SACs became integral to the Dominion's military and infrastructure, designing everything from warships to city layouts. Quantum manipulation. Dr. Serena Eng's team continued to refine the Erebus drive, incorporating quantum entanglement to create instantaneous communication networks across vast distances. This technology, dubbed the Nexus Grid, allowed Dominion forces to coordinate with precision that the Council couldn't match. Biological enhancements. Advances in genetic engineering led to the creation of augmented operatives, humans with enhanced strength, speed, and intelligence. While controversial even within the Dominion, these operatives quickly became the backbone of its special forces. Nanotechnology. Self-replicating nanomachines revolutionized construction, medicine, and manufacturing. Entire cities were built in weeks, and soldiers equipped with nano-armors could heal from injuries on the battlefield. While these advancements accelerated the Dominion's growth, they also drew the Council's ire. Reports of humanity's reckless experiments circulated among Council worlds, fueling propaganda campaigns that painted the Terran Dominion as a rogue state dabbling in dangerous technologies. Diplomatic gambits. The Dominion's leaders knew they couldn't face the Council alone. President Asha Khatri initiated a bold campaign of diplomatic outreach, targeting species disillusioned with the Council's authoritarian rule. The Dominion's message was simple: join us, and we will share our technology and resources. Together, we will build a galaxy where freedom and innovation thrive. 1. The Zerans. The insectoid Zerans were the first to join. Long treated as second-class citizens within the Council, they were drawn to the Dominion's promise of equality. In return, they offered their expertise in swarm tactics and organic engineering. 2. The Thalassari. The amphibious Thalassari, whose homeworld had been overexploited by the Council, allied with the Dominion in exchange for terraforming technology. Their fleet of submersible starships became a crucial asset in the Dominion's navy. 3. The Free Colonies. Independent human and alien colonies on the fringes of Council space flocked to the Dominion. Some sought protection from pirates and slavers. Others simply wanted to escape the Council's taxes and regulations. Each new ally strengthened the Dominion's position, expanding its territory and resources. By 2450, the Dominion controlled over 40 star systems, its influence spreading like wildfire. Building the Armada. The Dominion's military transformation was spearheaded by General Marcus Varga, who understood that survival required more than diplomacy and innovation. It required strength. Fleet expansion. Using designs from SAC strategists, the Dominion constructed a fleet of warships that combined brute force with cutting-edge technology. Flagships like the Erebus-class dreadnoughts became symbols of the Dominion's might, armed with railguns, plasma cannons, and quantum torpedoes. Stealth technology. The Dominion developed phantom cloaking systems, allowing its ships to vanish from enemy sensors. This gave them a significant advantage in reconnaissance and ambush tactics. Orbital defense platforms. Each major Dominion world was ringed with haven stations, massive orbital platforms equipped with anti-ship weaponry and shield generators. These defenses made direct attacks on Dominion territory a costly endeavor. The Vanguard Corps. Augmented operatives formed the elite Vanguard Corps, tasked with high-risk missions. Their success rate quickly became legendary, with stories of operatives single-handedly sabotaging enemy fleets spreading across Dominion space. By 2455, the Dominion's military was no longer a fledgling force, but a formidable juggernaut capable of standing toe-to-toe with the Council. The Council's retaliation. The Grand Galactic Council was slow to react, believing the Dominion would collapse under the weight of its own ambition. When it became clear this was not the case, the Council imposed harsher sanctions, blocking trade routes and forbidding member species from interacting with the Dominion. These efforts backfired spectacularly. The Dominion's new technologies rendered Council-controlled hyperlanes obsolete. Trade flourished within Dominion space, powered by the Nexus grid and independent supply chains. Meanwhile, discontent among Council-aligned species grew as they watched the Dominion thrive despite the embargoes. In 2458, the Council launched a military campaign to restore order. Fleets were dispatched to intercept Dominion ships and secure disputed systems. These skirmishes escalated into full-blown battles, with the Dominion holding its ground thanks to its superior technology and tactics. The most significant clash came at Arena Prime, a fertile colony world on the edge of Dominion space. The Council deployed a massive fleet, expecting to overwhelm the Dominion's defenses. Instead, they walked into an ambush. The Battle of Arena Prime. General Marcus Vargas' strategy was audacious. Using phantom cloaking systems, the Dominion hid an entire fleet in the planet's orbit. As the Council forces engaged the visible defenses, Dominion ships emerged from the shadows, attacking from all sides. The battle was brutal. For every Dominion ship destroyed, 3 Council vessels fell. Augmented operatives sabotaged enemy cruisers from within, while railgun volleys tore through the Council's formations. When the dust settled, the Council had lost half its fleet. It was a humiliating defeat that sent shockwaves through the galaxy. A galactic reckoning. The Battle of Arena Prime marked a turning point. The Council's facade of invincibility was shattered, and the Dominion's reputation soared. Planets once loyal to the Council began reconsidering their allegiances, while others declared neutrality to avoid becoming targets in the escalating conflict. Despite its victories, the Dominion did not seek outright war. President Cattry's successor, Chancellor Amelia Voss, focused on consolidating gains rather than pursuing further aggression. The galaxy doesn't need another empire built on conquest, she declared. It needs a sanctuary for those who dare to dream. The Dominion's ascendancy. By the early 26th century, the Terran Dominion had evolved into a beacon of progress and defiance. Its cities gleamed with advanced technology, its colonies flourished, and its citizens, both human and alien, enjoyed unprecedented freedom. The Dominion's culture became a blend of humanity's resilience and the contributions of its allies. Art, music, and philosophy flourished alongside scientific innovation. While the Council continued to portray the Dominion as a rogue state, many in the galaxy saw it as a symbol of hope. But tensions with the Council remained high. Both powers knew that a single misstep could plunge the galaxy into a devastating war. For now, however, the Dominion stood tall, a testament to humanity's unyielding spirit and its ability to forge an empire even in the face of rejection. The Terran Dominion's rise was a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity, but the road ahead was fraught with challenges. Although the Dominion had established itself as a powerful force, its survival depended on maintaining unity, managing alliances, and countering the relentless aggression of the Grand Galactic Council. This was not merely a fight for survival. It was the beginning of a galactic empire forged from humanity's defiance. Unifying the fractured Dominion. Despite its rapid expansion, the Dominion faced significant internal challenges. The integration of alien species, autonomous colonies, and human factions into a cohesive government required careful diplomacy and pragmatic leadership. Chancellor Amelia Voss prioritized unity, introducing policies designed to balance the needs of diverse groups. The Dominion Charter, a new constitution, the Dominion Charter, was drafted to establish a framework for governance. The Charter guaranteed equal representation for all member species in the Dominion Assembly, ensuring that alien allies felt valued and respected cultural exchange programs. Recognizing the potential for cultural friction, the Dominion launched interstellar exchange programs to foster mutual understanding. Zarin engineers collaborated with human architects, while Thalassari artists introduced their aquatic-inspired aesthetics to Dominion cities' economic integration. The Dominion established a universal currency, the solar credit, and a unified trade network to strengthen economic ties between its worlds. The Nexus grid facilitated instantaneous financial transactions, creating a prosperous and interconnected economy. These initiatives solidified the Dominion's internal stability, allowing it to present a united front against external threats. Diplomatic gambles. The Dominion's leaders knew they couldn't expand indefinitely without drawing the Council into a full-scale war. Chancellor Voss adopted a dual approach, consolidating alliances while subtly undermining the Council's authority. The Kalan Accord, one of the Dominion's most significant diplomatic victories, was securing an alliance with the Kalan Syndicate, a powerful trade network that had long chafed under the Council's regulations. The Kalans provided access to rare resources and black market goods in exchange for protection and technology covert operations. While Dominion diplomats worked to expand its sphere of influence, its intelligence agency, the Shadow Corps, conducted covert operations to destabilize the Council. Shadow Corps agents infiltrated Council territories, spreading propaganda and sowing dissent among its member species, the neutral zone. To avoid provoking open conflict, the Dominion negotiated the establishment of a neutral zone along its borders. This demilitarized region served as a buffer, providing a space for negotiations and trade between the two powers. The Council viewed these maneuvers with suspicion, but its internal divisions made a unified response difficult. The catalyst for war. Despite its efforts to maintain peace, the Dominion could not avoid conflict forever. In 2468, a crisis erupted on Alcaris V, a resource-rich planet located near the neutral zone. The planet's native species, the Alkari, had declared their intention to join the Dominion, citing years of neglect and exploitation by the Council. The Council responded by dispatching a fleet to restore order. When Dominion ships arrived to protect the Alkari, a tense standoff ensued. For weeks, both sides held their positions, refusing to back down. The situation escalated when a rogue Council captain launched a preemptive strike on the Dominion fleet, destroying several ships. The Dominion retaliated swiftly, crippling the Council's forces and securing Alcaris V. The incident became known as the Alcaris Flashpoint and marked the beginning of open hostilities between the two powers. The Dominion's military evolution. The Alcaris Flashpoint forced the Dominion to accelerate its military preparations. General Marcus Varga, now Supreme Commander of the Dominion Armed Forces, oversaw the development of new weapons and strategies designed to counter the Council's numerical superiority, the Titan program. The Dominion began constructing Titan-class warships, massive vessels equipped with planet-destroying weaponry. These ships served as both a deterrent and a statement of the Dominion's resolve. Psi Warriors. Building on advances in neural enhancement, the Dominion developed Psi Warriors, elite soldiers capable of telepathic communication and limited psychokinetic abilities. These warriors became the Dominion's most feared operatives, capable of disrupting enemy strategies with their mental prowess. Automated defense fleets. The Dominion deployed fleets of fully autonomous drones controlled by SACs. These drones operated without the need for human intervention, overwhelming enemies with relentless precision. The Starforge Initiative. Using self-replicating nanomachines, the Dominion established Starforges, automated shipyards capable of producing entire fleets in a matter of weeks. This innovation allowed the Dominion to match the Council's production capacity despite its smaller territory. By 2470, the Dominion's military was no longer merely a defensive force. It was an offensive juggernaut capable of challenging the Council's dominance. The Galactic Conflict. The conflict between the Dominion and the Council escalated into a full-scale war, with battles raging across dozens of systems. Each side sought to control key trade routes, resource-rich planets, and strategic hyperlanes. The Siege of Vagab 9. The Dominion's capture of Vagab 9, a major Council supply depot, crippled its logistics network. Psi Warriors played a key role in the victory, disrupting council communications and sowing chaos among their ranks. The liberation of Galtria 6. Determined to reclaim its tarnished reputation, the Dominion launched a campaign to liberate Galtria 6, the site of the infamous orbital bombardment. The operation was a resounding success, with Dominion forces driving out the Council and winning the support of the planet's inhabitants. The Shadow War. Behind the scenes, the Shadow Corps intensified its efforts to destabilize the Council. Sabotage, espionage, and targeted assassinations weakened the Council's leadership, creating divisions among its member species. Despite the Dominion's successes, the war was costly. Entire planets were devastated, and millions of lives were lost on both sides. Chancellor Voss worked tirelessly to balance the demands of war with the need to maintain internal stability. The turning point. In 2475, the war reached a critical juncture with the Battle of the Helios Rift, a massive engagement involving nearly half of the Dominion's fleet and a significant portion of the Council's navy. The Helios Rift, a region of turbulent space filled with gravitational anomalies, became the backdrop for one of the largest battles in galactic history. The Council believed they had trapped the Dominion's fleet, but General Varga had anticipated their strategy. Using the Erebus drive, Dominion ships executed a series of precise jumps, flanking the Council's forces and exploiting the rift's gravitational anomalies to devastating effect. The battle ended in a decisive Dominion victory, with the Council losing several key fleets. For the first time, the Dominion gained the upper hand, forcing the Council to consider negotiations. The birth of an empire. Following the Helios Rift victory, Chancellor Voss called for a ceasefire and invited the Council to negotiate peace. Reluctantly, the Council agreed, convening at the neutral zone's largest station, Aegis Prime. The resulting treaty, known as the Pax Helios, marked a turning point in galactic history. The Council formally recognized the Terran Dominion as an independent power, granting it control over the systems it had claimed during the war. For the Dominion, this was more than a victory, it was validation. Humanity had been cast out of the Council and condemned as pariahs, but they had risen above the condemnation to build an empire that spanned the stars. The legacy of defiance. By the late 25th century, the Terran Dominion had solidified its position as one of the galaxy's dominant powers. Its cities gleamed with technological marvels. Its military stood as a bulwark against threats, and its citizens, human and alien alike, enjoyed freedoms unheard of within the Council. The Dominion's rise sent a clear message to the galaxy. No power, no council, no authority could dictate the limits of humanity's ambition. They had been banished, but they had returned, not as supplicants, but as sovereigns of their own destiny. In the far reaches of space, humanity's empire grew, its influence expanding with every passing year. The Terran Dominion had been born from rejection, but would endure as a testament to the unyielding spirit of Earth and its people. The stars themselves now bore witness to their defiance.